why did you choose to participate in this course?
As I progress in my career, it's more and more important to me to give back and to do something that's good, that's for something bigger than me, even if that's selfish, because it's also making me feel better, but like doing something for a reason other than self-promotion or money, I think just gives to a balance to your life. Let's go with the
Cool. I like it. All right. What are some of the most memorable things for you personally that you saw or experienced during this trip, and kind of what made those memorable for you?
So prior to this trip, I traveled out of the US, but on vacation. I'd never really traveled doing any sort of, I don't know if it's charity work is the right term, but
Global health.
Global health. I've never done anything other than vacation. Let's go with that. And, you know, obviously I feel like I'm well read and I've watched movies. I know like what's going on in the world, read the news, watch the news. But to actually like see it in person is a little daunting and a little overwhelming, but in a good way, like a very real way, real emotions. Like just the heat. I'm from Missouri where it's humid, but we go from humid and hot, but we go from AC in a house to AC in a car to AC in the grocery store to AC at the movie theater to AC at the restaurants. Like there is very limited moments of discomfort. And in the rural communities in southwest Guatemala, it is everything that's hard about Guatemala, and it's hot. And that was like really got to me for some reason of like there's no escaping the reality of what's going on here, of like not having drinking water, not really even having closed-in homes, not good sanitation, flies everywhere, ticks everywhere, on the dogs everywhere, which I love dogs, but it's like it's very rough to see the living conditions that people live in, and that added to like I felt hopeless for them, which is probably not the right thing to feel, but it's like, how could you ever expect to get out? Like when all you're trying to do is just like live to the next day. So that was really hard. I don't know if that was supposed to be an uplifting story.
Whatever.
But I guess the upside of that then is like seeing the clinic, seeing the site, seeing the collaboration between the Guatemalan locals who are working on the site, but also Guatemalans from all over the country that are doing research, and the Americans collaborating with that to try to make an impact and not just put a Band-Aid on it, but actually make substantial change. And hearing out the community and seeing what their actual needs are, as opposed to just helicoptering in and then helicoptering out, or parachuting in and parachuting out. I don't know what that expression is. I think it's parachuting. I guess you couldn't parachute out, but drive a really long ways out. But so there is the brutal honesty of what's going on down here, which really just kind of draws you in more of like, this matters and there's room to actually have an impact to make a difference here.
What was one of your favorite parts of this experience?
So my favorite part of this experience was getting to take something that. One of my favorite parts of this experience was honestly getting to take something that I know works in the United States that is pretty simple, and apply it down here, or attempt to apply it down here with local materials in a way that could have a potentially a really positive impact. And I love being outside and getting my hands dirty, and basically we're just playing in the mud. So being able to do something tangible and physical is what I love. So it was great. Yes.
And then what is a piece of advice, and then a piece of encouragement that you would give to any students who are considering participating in this course.
A piece of advice, and what's the second thing?
A piece of encouragement.
Piece of advice is just, if you have another option of something to do during a semester or summer, whenever this is being offered, take a step back and not just think about what's going to advance your career. I know in engineering and in STEM, everyone is like internships. In reality, at your internship, you're not going to do that cool stuff. At some internships, you do amazing things, but at a lot of internships, I just went out and checked that the trash that was supposed to get picked up from the streams actually got picked up. That was my whole internship. And then it does look good on a resume. And maybe you have an internship where you're doing something in CAD, or maybe you're doing testing, or maybe it is like really important work, and I get that. But stop for a second, and instead of just what's the next thing I need to do to get to the next job, is do this because it's going to be more fulfilling, it's going to be more challenging, and also I think it's going to make you look better on a resume. You didn't just go to an internship in Denver or wherever you're from. You went to Guatemala and you did something crazy, and it wasn't just a study abroad where you're soaking in the culture and going to museums, which is amazing. Down here, you're sweating, you're getting your hands dirty, you're seeing the reality of what's going on in the country, and you're learning something valuable, and you're changing as a person. And I think companies will... I think companies will appreciate that. So if it's... Again, the advice is if there's other options, pick this one. The advice. Okay. And the advice is, if you like to go...
A lot of trucks right now. I think we're right at the end of the workday where there's a lot of trucks going.
If you like camping and you like being outdoors and you're okay with bugs and you're okay with weather and you go with the flow, this is great for you. But also if you don't like any of those things, this is also great for you. Again, step outside the box, but also just know this isn't a 5-star resort trip. This is getting your hands dirty, again, being sweaty, being in the bugs. I don't want that to deter you. I want that to be exciting, to step outside and do something that you're not used to, something outside of your comfort zone.
Any last things that you personally would like to add, or?
Yeah. So I work in academia, and I work in research, and I primarily do work in decarbonization of building materials, all in the goal of making sure our planet is healthy in the future and to reduce emissions. And the work I do, I think it's important. I think it should continue to be done. But one perspective change from this trip is that there are immediate, tangible problems in the world that need to be addressed. And again, that doesn't mean that the other stuff's not important, but if people and communities and countries are worried about having clean drinking water and putting food on the table, they can't care about anything else. So yes, it's important to work on innovations to reduce carbon emissions, but I think it's equally important to help bring everybody up together so that everyone can care about that in the future. So I really hope that my work can help immediate needs. I think that's where my passion will go. But we'll see. It's also all up to funding. So if anybody out there, this is going fundraisers, I think it's worth it to put money down here and to support students down here, because there's just so much more out there than what's in Denver and what's in Colorado and what's in the US. And the more exposure we have to that, the better solutions we can come up as a society to solve all of the problems we care about on every scale.